Good day, everybody. My name is Gary Stewart, and I am going to talk to you today a little bit about healthy boundaries and mindfulness and a little bit of meditation. I really want you to understand that in order to be effective at being centered, being grounded, being connected, being mindful, you have to have healthy boundaries. So if you woke up this morning and you're really anxious, you have a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, maybe personally, professionally, financially, all those aspects of your life actually create a barrier to being mindful. Create that barrier to being able to meditate and to be centered and grounded. If you have all these distractions and all these things going on, it's really difficult to allow yourself this opportunity just to be present right where you're at. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. If you have questions, please put them down below in the feed, or you can just reach out to me directly. You can call, text, email, any of those contacts. Feel free to reach out to me and I will respond as soon as possible. There's a book called Boundaries. It's an older book. I think it's Zondervan, and the original publication is really one of my favorite books. There are a lot of Bible verses in there, and so if you are not a diehard Christian, just kind of filter through that. But the core concepts of this book give a lot of fundamental values of boundaries and healthy boundaries and how to incorporate those in your life, and just different ideas that maybe you've never realized where in your life you need a boundary. So if you can, I want you to take some notes, some journal, and start thinking about the different concepts that I'm proposing today, and then think about the different feelings and emotions and jot those down. And areas in your life that would be beneficial if you had a healthy boundary. So if you got up this morning and you think about what in your life really created stress, what created anxiety, then think about in your life what really creates joy and happiness. I can tell there's a dog behind me. Hey, Prince. So, are you enjoying going to work? Are you enjoying your relationships? Are you enjoying all those aspects in your life of your car and your house and what you've spent money on? And do you have a good professional and personal life balance? So you think about that in a whole. You know, if you started your job, usually they give you this title and this role, and then your boss sees that you can really do that well, so they add on more work, and before you know it, you're doing all these different duties and all these different things in your life. But are they really bringing you joy, and are you really able to be effective and efficient at those tasks professionally? You know, there's been studies shown that if you actually understand your healthy boundaries and understand what you can do successfully, and you communicate that to your boss effectively, then there's actually a lot of mutual respect, because you truly can't multitask. A lot of us are a lot better at doing multiple things quickly, but a lot of times what we don't realize is that we're really only focusing on one task, one objective at a time, and then we go to the next one. And so if you're able to process that a lot faster, then you're able to, what we call multitasking. So if you're overextended at work, it's time to maybe step back and reflect and let your boss know that you're not effective, you're not efficient at doing these multiple aspects of your job, that maybe it's just this and this and this, these certain 1, 2, 3 things, but 4, 5, and 6, you're not doing as well as you should be, and you're not as gifted and talented in those concepts. So think about that. And personally in your life, if you're in a relationship, what is bringing you joy and satisfaction, and do you have a lot of false expectations? Have you ever seen these people on social media that fall completely, totally, madly in love with a person, and then they're the best thing in their life. They bring so much joy and so much peace, and then a couple months later, they're the worst person. And you think about that through these journeys, like, we all probably have known somebody that's gone through a divorce, and their marriage was great, and maybe there was some agitation and some toxic aspects, but when they go through the divorce, like, where did all the love and the acceptance and all the joy go, how is it that they flip the switch so quickly? Same thing with a lot of times we have the opportunity just to quit and move on and go away. So think about in your life why you've behaved that way and why you're so in love and so passionate and so creative towards somebody or towards work, and then the next thing you know, you're completely opposite. Normally that's a direct reflection upon ourselves. That is where we didn't have healthy boundaries in that relationship. And so think about, once again, what really brings you joy and how you can incorporate that in your life, and what your balance is between professionally and personally, right? If you're giving too much to your kids or you're giving too much to work, how do you find that happy medium in your life to where you really are joyful, that you really are excited to get up and go to work, and you're really excited about to come home? If you ever feel like you're just wanting to quit and give up and just like cut off everybody and just move away and quit, it's because you're worn out, you're tired, you're exhausted, and that's because you haven't set up successful, healthy boundaries in your life. And so you're going to have to start telling people no, and you're going to have to start telling yourself yes. And so one of those aspects of telling yourself yes is enough time and self-care, including being mindful, including being present. And so self-care is a process that's different and changing all the time. For me, I love getting up in the morning and I love getting into my hot tub and my sauna and then taking a shower and getting ready for the day. Same thing in the evening. I love closing my day off with some time in the hot tub, sauna, shower, rinsing off, and just letting the day go. Another important aspect is winding down. So if you think about all day, you're absorbing all this energy, negative and positive. It may be stressful as you drive to work. It may be stressful at work. It may be stressful when you get home if you have kids and you've got to do laundry and you've got to run errands, and then the kids are in sports and you're always running and going and going and going, and you're never really giving yourself the time, the self-care that you need, because you're dedicating it to everybody else. It's very unhealthy. It's very difficult to be present and to be mindful when all you're doing is going and expelling all this energy to everybody else, and you don't have enough for yourself. So think about in your life where it is and how you can stop and give yourself self-care in the morning and in the evening. Normally it's about a 2-hour process for you to wind down from everything that happened throughout the day, and you're like, Carrie, I don't have 2 hours. Well, whatever time you do have. And think about your wind down time as, you know, if you're type A personality, some high intensity type of exercise, a jog, some hot yoga, something that's really going to get all these physical things out. If you're shaking your leg all day and you can't stop, you can't relax, think about how you can expel all that out. How do you get all that out in the evening so you can actually sit down and give yourself the time to relax, the time to be mindful? And then it could be like a hot bath, a hot shower, it could be some nice stretching, relaxing yoga, and then, you know, some calm, soothing music, maybe a diffuser, some essential oils, incense. Set the mood, set the environment for you to relax, to be calm, and give yourself some time alone to kind of reflect. And journaling is one of the best aspects of letting everything out. And so I've always understood journaling from a yoga perspective, but recently I went to the insomnia clinic at the VA in Aurora, and they said that your mind never really shuts down, right? And so even if you know tomorrow that you've got to go to Home Depot and you've got to go to Natural Grocers and you've got to go, you know, pick up the grandkids, and you've got all these errands and things that you've got to do, and these are the items that you're going to get, and it's really easy and simple to remember all those items. It doesn't take any thought, any concentration, but journaling and writing down even your simple to-do list gives you the opportunity to let all of that go. And so if you think about it in that simple context of, I'm just going to write down my to-do list, I'm going to write down my grocery list and my things that I need to get done and the things I need to purchase, that's how it is with every other aspect within our life on a deeper level. So give yourself the opportunity to write down your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, the things that you're confused about, the things that are indifferent, the things that you don't understand. Why are you feeling this way? What is occurring in your life? Let all of that go, and that gives you the opportunity just to release it. And then you don't have to focus on it. You don't have to process it. You don't have to worry whether or not you're going to remember. And a lot of to-do lists, a lot of things can be done on your calendar. So you can use a calendar as well. You can use electronic journal. I have multiple journals. I even have, my wallet even has a little journal in it to where I can take notes. So if I'm on a hike or something inspirational comes along, then I can just pull out my wallet and write it down. So within my journals, you'll see maybe a yoga sequence or a music playlist or sketches of some kind of work that I'm doing, some house project. You may see to-do list and laundry list and even phone numbers of people I need to contact and call. So all those things are in my journal and incorporated. So get all of that out, so then you can just let it go and you don't have to think about it. Think about journaling as a way to giving yourself an opportunity to be mindful, to be present in this moment, and realize that all these other distractions and all these other things that you probably didn't realize are occurring, the positive and negative things, are keeping you from being mindful, especially a lot of the negative things, the financial stress that you have. And figure out a way to eliminate those financial burdens and those financial stress, the toxic relationships that you may be in. If you're not looking forward to spending time with your significant other, your companion, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of doubt, fear, there is a lot of conflict. Begin to really self-analyze that aspect as well, and realize that we pick a spouse just like the parent that hurt us the most. So we're trying to recover, we're trying to rebuild, we're trying to heal from that toxic relationship, and a lot of times we feel it with another toxic relationship that we didn't even realize why and how and what is going on. So make sure that you're setting yourself up with very good, healthy boundaries within your relationship. And make sure that you're giving yourself the time to heal, to recover, and to repair and understand the feelings that are going on behind this. So, healthy boundaries. What in your life creates stress? What in your life creates joy? What in your life creates acceptance and love? And what is the discord of that? What creates a fear and disconnect, right? Think about your boundaries that you have professionally and personally, with your wife or your kids, your friends, your lovers, whoever it may be, and then your boss. And how you can have this really great work-life balance that you need. And then the time that you spend in self-care. Detoxing, releasing, letting everything go, allowing yourself to start fresh and new each and every morning. Journaling, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about mindfulness, what that incorporates. I've done another YouTube video that goes into more detail, so I'm just going to cover it really briefly. So mindfulness is the concept of setting intention, breathing nice and slow, observing, building your awareness, including listening, and then immersion into this practice. So you set your intention today, and it's International Yoga Day, so today maybe it's like I want to do yoga every day for the next 30 days. Or maybe today I really need to focus on healthy boundaries, or unconditional love, or acceptance, or whatever it may be. So you come into an intention, and then you slow down your breath, and your breath is like a sinusoidal wave. Think about an ocean wave, where you inhale nice and slow, and then you pause at the top, and then you exhale, and you pause at the bottom, and then you inhale nice and slow. So it's not rushed, you're not in a hurry, you're not creating anxiety, it's not too long, it's not too short, it's where it allows you to become calm, allows you to become relaxed. So with the breath in, you pause, the breath out, you pause, and with this breath in, you're doing your intention. And then just begin to observe. Observe in your body, observe your surroundings, and then you dive in to the next layer of the awareness of all that. So where you're tight, where you're sore, where you're tender, where you're strong, where you're vibrant, the feelings that you have externally, right? If your neck is sore, your back is sore, but then the feelings that you have internally, of how you feel joy, of how you feel grounded, how you feel loved, how you feel accepted. The awareness of what you see, the beautiful earth, wherever you may be. Maybe you need an opportunity to be in nature. One of the things I used to do when I started meditating was I had a big photo of Lake Tahoe that I put up because I love the sights and the smells and the sounds of Lake Tahoe. So maybe you need to have a visual stimuli that really is appealing. And then what you see internally, so who you see yourself as today. and then what you hear. Well, listening of what you hear externally, right? Not just the sound of my voice, the music that's playing, or any other noise that are going on in your community, but really of what you're telling yourself, of who you are today, of this moment in this breath, and who you want to be through this journey in this path. And then you immerse yourself in that. So you follow that sequence over and over. So you think about your intention of a healthy boundary. You think about a slow, methodical breath. You observe the things around you. Then you dive in deeper. You go to the next layer of sights and sounds and feelings. And you just continue that cycle throughout the day. Meditation is where you're spending some time actually doing as little as possible. I have a Yoga Nidra video out there, and some like a Yin Deep Stretch, Urban Zen. Those would give you kind of an example of how you can do meditation just still and quiet, or you can actually add some movement in there as well. So my suggestion is when you start your meditation, you just set a timer. So you talk about time-based activities, pacing. Those were going to give you an opportunity just to have a limitation, to set a boundary of, I want a 3-minute meditation, I want a 5-minute meditation, and then maybe I'll move up to an 8-minute, and then someday maybe I'll do 10, 15, and 20 or 30 minutes. The real true threshold of what they've done through the studies is a 20 minutes. So if you're able to get up every morning and at some point you get into a 20-minute meditation, you're able to change your threshold. You're able to relax. You're able to be very calm. You're able to really start your day fresh, new, whole, and complete, because you're letting everything else go and you're being mindful and you're being present. And so healthy boundaries will allow you to step into that role of being mindful, of being present, of being meditative. And so through this process, just give yourself the opportunity to meditate for 3 minutes, and then to be mindful throughout your day and realize what is causing the joy in your life, what's causing the peace, what's causing the anxiety or the stress. Recently I traveled to Kansas City, came back, and then I traveled to Detroit, and I really love the journey. I really love the opportunity to travel. But what I realize is every time I get into like a big city like Kansas City or Denver or any of those, I don't enjoy driving. It's not fun. It's not fun how I'm being treated by other drivers a lot of times, how they're rude and they're inconsiderate. And then when I flew to Detroit, I realized the same thing. When I am going through security checkout that's 30 or 45 minutes, it's not enjoyable to me. I enjoy the actual journey. I enjoy getting to the destination. But sometimes through that journey, it's a process where I have to be more mindful and more present. Through this journey, realize just like if you go to the gym for the first time, or you're jogging or rock climbing or anything that's new, the first time you sit down at your job, it's new, it's foreign, it's difficult, it's not as enjoyable. So realize that through this journey and this process, there are going to be times of things that are more difficult, that are more challenging, right? And that's why I like to say that relationships are challenging, right? Because they're not work, puts kind of a negative connotation to it, but relationships are challenging. So when you view it as a challenge, then you kind of don't see it always as that negative connotation, but it gives you an opportunity to focus on why do I feel the way that I do? Why is this not as enjoyable to me? And how can I make it enjoyable? So I have to go through the big city to get to the country. I have to go through this crazy long line of security to get to my final destination. So through that journey, I'm able to look past it, be mindful, be centered right here in this moment, and realize that on the other side is my joy. On the other side is my peace. On the other side is excitement. So realize it through yourself that when you're being mindful or you're trying to do meditation, that it's not always easy, that it's going to be difficult. Same thing with your healthy boundaries. If you're always used to telling people yes, 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 and you never tell people no, 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 then it's going to be difficult for you at first. It's going to be challenging for you. So realize that when you become vulnerable through this process, that you're able to be real, genuine. You're not fake, you're not putting on a facade, you're not worried about an image, you're not worried about all the clothes that you're wearing or what you're driving or how people are viewing you externally. But being vulnerable allows you to become really raw, to become very authentic, and to see the real true you. Being vulnerable allows you to accept yourself for who you are and love yourself unconditionally. Being vulnerable also allows you to become the hero through this journey and not the victim. And you see it all day long on social media. People play the victim role. They're in their position, they're in this state of being because of the president, or because of their boss, or because of their ex-lover, or their ex whoever it may be, right? It's time to become the hero through this journey. It's time to become responsible and accountable for your actions, your beliefs, and your behaviors. Not to blame it on anybody else, but to be accountable for yourself. And that is what the true hero journey is about. It's transforming yourself and transforming the lives of others. So the last thing I want to say is, I want you to really think about what makes you feel free, what makes you feel alive, what gives you excitement and joy. And think about those things in your life, of what today can do for you, of how yoga truly means to connect, to bond, to yoke. Whether that's going on a hike or a bike ride or a swim, or actually going into a yoga studio and doing a yoga practice. But think about today how you could connect deeper within yourself, how you can understand why you feel the way you do, and how you can make your life better, how you can set healthy boundaries, and how you can become the hero in this journey. Thank you so very much. I hope you have an amazing week, and feel free to ask any questions in this feed or reach out to me directly. Thanks.